Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 911 of the daily content streak, on the road to 1,000 daily videos, or total insanity, whichever one grips me first. Today we are going to be doing what I usually do when a TFcon is ongoing. We're going to look at the third-party panel, because it's one of the few times I actually speak opinions about upcoming third-party items. This one is particularly painful, because I should have been there to see it live, but here in Florida, I was stuck. So here in Florida, I will go over what got announced. So let us start with the Make Toys offerings, which does include the con exclusives for the year, 2 of them anyway. This is part of their Colorverse. Okay, so apparently this is just going to be them, with their first drop, just doing whatever repaint they want to a Seeker with no rhyme, reason, or inspiration from any source material. Is this really what Make Toys is? Is this literally all Make Toys has anymore? Just running that same masterpiece Seeker mold over and over again? To be honest with you, I got it in Orlando when they did the G1 take on Slipstream. I thought that was a cool idea, but frankly, I didn't like the figure all that much. I mean, if this is one of those highly exalted third-party Seekers, I don't know, but personally, I don't know. I didn't like the feel of it. And now we're just kind of getting generics. So this is Tangerine Swarm, who kind of just looks like your Starscream's colors went off in the sun some weird way. It's just pale orange and black instead of blue. Otherwise, yeah, it just kind of looks like some weird Starscream. Looks like a coloring error Starscream. And then there's Paul, who might have the most boring name in any kind of third-party history. And he's just very pale blue, very pale gray. Just kind of looks like a sun-bleached Thundercracker. Like, this is, I'm sorry. I know there's Seeker collectors out there, and there is something to just painting Seekers in whatever color scheme you want and just seeing how they look. These both seem very lame. These both seem extremely boring. You know, if you're going to come up with brand new color schemes for Seekers, then you don't bother pulling generics from like one scene from a Marvel comic or the cartoon. You know, just come up with something different looking, something exciting, you know, like change the dynamic of the Seeker, do something interesting. This is just kind of dull, especially for a con exclusive. It seems like they're selling it just on, hey, here's more Seeker, and there's only 200. So it looks like the only reason this is going to be, it feels like the only reason this is going to be that desirable is because it's so limited number. You know, I'm sure there's someone out there who loves the color scheme, but it just seems so underwhelming for what they could have done. Oh, well. Moving on to Star Toys. Star Toys has produced that really good Blitzwing that I still need to get. It's getting another run, so I need to grab it then. I will put up with the over-complexity of third-party transformations for a Blitzwing that looks that good. But they're going with another triple changer, this time on the Autobot side, and it's Trax. Technically a triple changer. I wish them the best, because for whatever reason, Hasbro cannot make a good Trax toy. Takara cannot make a good Trax toy. The Generations one, admittedly kind of janky because they were kind of shoehorning in an eventual Wheeljack retool. We have the modern one from Kingdom, which I don't think anyone liked. I think that's one of the least liked figures of its year. And then the Masterpiece didn't impress me either. It seemed like a lot of weird simplification for a Masterpiece item that was like just unnecessary. A lot of weird choices with it. A lot of weird choices. So apparently this boy is hard to crack. But Star Toys has proven they've done some really good engineering for Blitzwing and their triple changing. So hopefully they've got a good idea of how to pull this one off correctly. You know, and they're including all the stuff you have to include. You have to include the alien mask from the one episode. Look at the articulation range. I'll give them credit for that. That's already looking good. All right, StudioOne. This is the group that brought you Cell, the third-party Unicron. They're still just promoting the exact same Primus that they've been shilling for like the last year's worth of conventions. I saw it in person at TFcon Orlando. It looks magnificent. I had a friend of mine watched a video about the transformation, and I just got like the reactions of disgust in the message, because apparently it's one of those third-party transformers where the transformation does not look fun in the least. And I tend to believe his opinion on things. I need to look into it myself, obviously, but I was kind of hoping this one would turn out really nice, because there is part of me that is somewhat tempted. The asking price is enormous, but also it feels like it might be a long time before we get a proper Cybertron, a proper Primus from Hasbro. And this one technically isn't either, because this is nowhere near the size of the official Unicron toy. You know, it's the size of their Unicron, but not the one I need one that's comparable to. I mean, that said, once again, in robot mode, it looks fantastic. I've always liked this redesign of Primus. I like how this one looks. Looks like they've worked in a lot of cool detail and design work. Like, I'm not saying it's not worth the price, but might not be for me after all, which is upsetting, because I kind of wanted it. I kind of wanted to be reeled in by this one. Okay, hello. See, so what do you got for us, robot toys? Okay, so is this the one that's doing the more mechanical looking Beast Wars figures? I assume so. We've seen a little bit of this already. I mean, they still look cool. Like, fully mechanical Beast Wars toys is not a bad direction. You know, honestly, I probably, in my childhood, probably would not have given up on Transformers if the Beast Wars was more to the mechanical side. I got back into it for Transmetals. It was the robotic beasts that interest me. If it was the whole line doing that, okay, now you've got a customer again. Now I'm interested. I'm not sure about it now, though. Now I've warmed up to Beast Wars so much, I'm not sure if I want a fully mechanical Megatron or Optimus. They don't look bad, though. I'm not sure what scale these are. I want to say these are on a smaller scale, but like that Primal is really small compared to that Megatron, so not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. It looks cool. Yeah, that's better scaling. I mean, it looks cool. I don't know if I'd go out of my way for it, though. It comes with a toothbrush. That's great. That's great. Okay, Magic Square. What do you got? Magic Square does some really cool things sometimes. All right, we got Dinobots. We got a Grimlock and just CAD Proto. And yeah, they're just going straight up 80s Grimlock. I joke a lot because, like, third-party Dinobots is so overdone. It's just one of the things that they all do at some point. Every company does at least one set of Dinobots eventually. And it's just that it's one of those where I just kind of look at it and go, is there really any market left? Like, especially after the 86, you know, like, our shop got in an 86 Grimlock, and I was reminded of how good that mold is, because mine's been sitting on a shelf for a long time. Like, I'm genuinely kind of wondering, like, how necessary is any of this anymore? But Magic Square does smaller toys, so maybe they're trying to capitalize pocket market here. Sludge as well. Sludge looking fine. The thing with Sludge is how much of his junk is just hanging off of him. Hard to see with no shot from the back. All right, and there's Slag or Slug, depending on what country you are on and what time period you are in. If you're watching in 1987 somehow, okay, his name is Slag still. Yeah, so we got the 3 core Dinobots, and they look fine. They look fine. When we see them in color, I mean, you should be able to imagine what color they're in by now. It's the Dinobots. A little bit of size comparison, though. Like, they actually do have a decent little size to them, because that Optimus is definitely pocket scale. So that's going to be, like, small-ish deluxe on the Dinobots when they're in robot mode. Get off him. That's rude. I don't know. I like for the size they have things like hand articulation in Dino mode. That's nice. I don't know what you're doing to that toy. Let's move away now. There's an unpainted prototype. An unpainted prototype in the snow, and we don't get any comparison shots. That's not very helpful. It's not very helpful. Okay, here's New Age. And New Age is that company whose engineering always impresses me, but they do pocket scale stuff that is absurdly expensive. So let's see what they got going on. They're doing a hoist. Not a bad looking hoist. He has those Energon hips. That's a little bit concerning. That's a little bit concerning. I feel like it looks fine. Is that really it? We move straight into Metate after that? Like, really? New Age is only putting out one toy for TFcon LA. Can you tell I haven't looked through these slides before? I kind of breezed through some of them, but I haven't really gone in depth. Okay, congrats. It's a truck. It's okay. It looks fine. It looks fine for the scale. I'm expecting, like, for something that's only, like, less than 4 inches tall, it's probably going to be, like, $80. God, jeez. You might as well just spend a little bit more and get the actual masterpiece size. Okay, Metate, what do you got for me? Blue Boy? Hey, Blue Boy. Is Metate actually going to attempt a third-party dropkick? Like a triple changer dropkick? That, I mean, we've seen Shatter done, so you'd think they would try, someone would try eventually. Oh, and that's the only thing. It's literally one frame. You know what? If they, we saw Shatter being pulled off, so if they can do it, okay, then go ahead, try dropkick as well. I'm always on the fence on that Shatter, by the way, because it seems that level of complexity from third party that I'm never going to enjoy transforming, but it's also a technological marvel that they managed to get both of those modes in there as effectively as they have. There's 2 of them. I don't even know if I'm talking about Metagate's version of it right now, but still, I've seen it, and it looks really cool. Okay, Iron Factory, another pocket company. This one I would still consider buying from. Their pocket stuff does not get outrageous in complexity or price. Their take on the Fallen looks pretty insane. I love how much flame is coming off of him. There's a little bit of like the more modern Megatronus inspiration in his design, which is not a bad take. And they're more their like Japanese-inspired Shogun series. So we've got a spear-wielding side swipe, who does look pretty good. I'm not getting the samurai vibe, so maybe I'm just like... I know this has been presented with them, but it doesn't really fit the aesthetic outside of the fact that he's carrying just like, like a couple of halberds. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit in as well. Or I might just be looking at a different side swipe. I don't know. Like I said, don't keep track of this stuff. There's a Jaruga. Oh, man. If Iron Fact... Okay, so... I do have the full-size third-party Lio Kaiser. I might consider getting a pocket scale because I really do like the Lio Kaiser team. And it looks like it's full breast force. Yeah. He's got his partner animal. It becomes the weapon. Does it become the chest? Okay, yes it does. Yes it does. It's hard to tell between these 2 shots. But he does gain a bulkier chest with some different colors on it. So yeah, the chest gimmick works too. I like the new claws too. That's a cool addition. Yeah, Jaruga's always the one that holds up a modern take on Lio Kaiser because it has to form the pelvis piece, and that's always the part of a 6-piece combiner that suffers. But it looks pretty good. It looks like they've done a pretty good job on it. Like, he's a nice standalone figure. Doesn't look like he suffers at all. Yeah, I'd be down for this. Depending on price, I would be down for this. Yeah, like yeah. Depending on price, I could go for a pocket scale Lio Kaiser like this. Something cool on my desk. There's a nice Leo Zack. That's a nice Leo Zack. Not gonna lie. Okay, yeah, this is tasty. This I could definitely get behind. I might be going for this. I don't know. I try to limit my third-party stuff, but that's tempting. Okay, DX9 Mini. See what you got for us. Oh, okay. So here's something I've already got in pocket scale. Actually, I've got small scale headmasters, but apparently we're getting some more. Nice articulation on something that's apparently mini. I don't know what. Here's the thing. So much masterpiece third party exists. I don't know what they refer to as mini unless they present a scale of some kind on here. I'm presuming this is quite small because his engineering does look, pretty simplified. I don't see any like pins or anything, so it looks like it's ball joints and friction mostly holding him together. I'm assuming. Like again, size comparison. If you're talking mini, let us know what size it is. It does everything that you'd expect from a Chrome Dome though. So I mean, can't really fault that. And here's the thing I hate. Here's your size scale compared to other third-party figures you probably don't own. But if that's a pocket scale Power Master Optimus, which that's another thing I might actually cave for. That looks good too. But like if that's pocket scale, then yeah, that's actually like that Chrome Dome's actually leaning more toward like like almost Scout the original like Scout class size or small deluxe size. I have to guess. I have to guess because there's no proper scaling images. I know, more interested in the prototype of the Jinrai more than I am anything. Okay, Unique Toys, which is always the best name because they just recreate other people's characters. But okay, if you're going to attempt a movie character, Dino is not a bad choice because it's not one they've ever been able to properly represent thanks to A, complexity, and B, licensing of that vehicle. He doesn't look too bad though. He's got his whips, that's a cool little touch. Got his blades too. He's a mean looking Autobot. When you don't get a good look at him in the movie, but like he is a mean looking Autobot when he's just standing still like that. Yeah, the would-be original movie Mirage, until they decided to honor the designer's name instead. Yeah, if they can pull that off, like, yeah, apparently they pulled it off. Like, that's a good looking car. That's just a really good looking car. Okay, so credit there. I'm seeing more and more with these Masterpiece movie figures, which I feel like Masterpiece is where you expect that complexity that I come to expect from larger third-party pieces. So it doesn't really surprise me. Because there you need it. There you absolutely need it. Like, that's impressive too. It's an impressive transformation and engineering there. Like, even if it's not for me, like, aesthetically, it's just not my thing anymore. I kind of got out of that whole, the Bayverse aesthetic a while ago. But still, I can admire when it's been done very well, and I can admire when the engineering is, just hitting the nail on the head with it. Yeah, it just looks really impressive. Really impressive. Yeah, a little bit bigger than a Voyager. Gray mold release. Is this what I think it is? I can't tell from the vehicle. Yeah. I've seen these floating around. I should have known this was coming. Yep, someone's doing third-party skids and mud flap. And you know what? You might as well. You might as well, because Takara and Hasbro are never touching these characters again. But because of that hole that's been created in your studio series and your movie Masterpiece, that creates a demand, and that's something third-party needs to take advantage of. Something Hasbro and Takara are never going to do, and they are definitely never going to do these two. So you might as well third-party it and get the most out of it. I don't know what scale these are either, but this is one of the rare times where I say, like, don't go for Masterpiece scale. Do something around deluxe size. Actually do something that replaces Studio Series figure. Because these guys are not going to get a Studio Series figure. Ever. It's just not going to happen. But looking at the hinges, the pins and screws in them, this is Masterpiece scale, as most third-party tends to be these days. So I do think there is a gap in the market that could be taken advantage of. Like, not to say the Masterpiece scale doesn't also have that, but I feel like a deluxe set of these guys from a third party would just do huge numbers. Huge numbers. But here we go. Yeah. For the people who absolutely do want them in the collection, they are going to exist. So the very least, because like unofficial really is the only way these two are ever happening again. So no real surprise. Gang Toys, another one I'm not too familiar with. Oh right, it's one of those companies where when you tell me the name, it's a complete blank. But when you show me their aesthetic, I go, oh. Right, it's the company that hyper stylizes classic characters and makes them incredibly dangerous to handle. At TFcon Orlando, I got to handle their take on Razor Claw, and it's dangerous. It's Knife Cat, and now they've made Knife Pteranodon, and I'm kind of all about that. This thing looks insane. This is the most insane swoop I've ever seen. It looks like a Gundam. It doesn't even look like a Transformer anymore. Man, I would love to see this in color. I would love to see this in color. I don't care if it's the animation blue or the toy red. I just need to see this thing in color. I might cave for this. I might cave for this. I have no interest in this because it's probably going to be part of a combiner group or something, but I don't have any interest in the other Dinobots they've released, but this is just... Swoop was always my boy. Like, I'm one of those just kind of like sitting waiting for Hasbro to finally show us what their Swoop's going to look like. But in the meantime, if I want a hyper-stylized Swoop, this is kind of making me want one. Jeez, and the Pteranodon looks epic too. I mean, I can't imagine there's much transforming going on here because the wing pack is so similar. It's just it's a little bit odd. A little bit odd. I'll have to wait and see how much transforming this actually does. But it does look nice. It does look nice. He looks like a Zoid. He looks like a Zoid now. Or like a robotic version of something I'd fight in Monster Hunter. One or the other. Okay, yeah. Called it. It's part of their combiner. It's an arm. So the wings probably become a wing pack. There's a spider involved too. I assume that's the hand. And if that is so, that's actually a pretty cool way of using it. A spider, not something I imagine as a prehistoric creature, but that's actually a cool way of using like the shape of a hand as an extra accessory figure. Mechanical Skull Studio, who I always think of this as like the company that really wants to be Kojima. They're showing off the remold of their Armada Starscream, so yeah, we're getting a Sky Warp out of it, which is cool. It's good to know. It's weird that third party's version of Armada Starscream has announced their Sky Warp before Hasbro has ever reused their Starscream from Armada once. Interesting for them to sit on that, but they are. It's not bad. It's still not doing the thing that I keep wanting this mold to do. So you see, like, here's the Starscream version. Which has apparently been modified because it's got the 1S attached to it. It's doing the thing that the Thrilling 30 version of the design could do, which is to fold those big cannons back and give him more traditional tall shoulder pylons. What I'm missing, what I still want someone to do, is just make the cannons hinge in the middle so I can fold them down and not have these annoying cannons just jutting out the back, stabbing all the other figures behind it. I mean, Armada Starscream is a good-looking design, but between wingspan this way, knees, the winglets on the knees pointed forward, and those big cannons pointing backward, it's one of the worst figures to put in a shelf. One of the absolute worst designs to put in a shelf. I just need it to be a little bit more convenient. If someone could do that for me, please. Alright, Dreamstar Toys. Haven't heard of you either, but again, when I see your aesthetic, now I remember what you've done. They're doing these more realistic takes on aerial bots with more modern jets. These could almost be their own designs. Like, this is actually pretty far detached from an aerial bot. But I'm not gonna lie, it's cool looking. It's really cool looking. Like, there's a point where, like, the minimalized colors and just using colors as accents here and there is actually hitting really strong with this design. Like, that part of it is really, really good. I do worry about how similar a lot of these are going to end up looking to each other. Even these two kind of look alike in a lot of ways. Yeah, the jet mode's nice. It does feel like there's a lot of... I can't get a good look at the shot at the top. It looks like there is a lot of paneling here, which it might be the lights accentuating that because it is all, metallic silver. It does look like I can see a bunch of hinges and things in the wings to minimize those. It might be a little bit too broken up looking in this mode. Might be the only complaint I have. But otherwise, yeah, this is really impressive. I mean, I believe it's an all built-in combiner too. I don't know if it has an extra hand accessory or not. Doesn't really show it. But yeah, like, it shows off the multi-forming. It shows off arm mode, leg mode, so it's like proper switching. Oh, no. Well, now it's showing multiples. Now it's showing multiples. Never mind. Now, remember how I told you it's hard to tell these things apart. But yeah, there's your look at Superion. Like, this is really where the only, like, connection to the aerial bots really takes hold, is when you see him as Superion. And I'm not gonna lie, that's just super impressive. That's just a really, really cool looking version of Superion. It kind of leans into the fact that the colors on all of Superion's bots, for the most part, are very similar to just create this super solid looking robot. It kind of looks more like something out of Diaclone than it does Transformers. It's really cool looking. Probably ridiculously expensive, but really cool looking. Yeah, that's just, yeah, there's a lot going into that. There's a lot to like there. Yeah, believe it or not, there's a lot that I can like in a third party, even if I don't really want to purchase it myself. All right, X-Trans Bots, what you got for me? So they're doing all-in-one combiners as well. So they've got their hotspot here, shown off in its base mode. His base mode was always kind of weak, but there it is. And yeah, just the fact that, yeah, like he can form a torso and the hips for a defensor, as well as like the leg struts, so everyone can just be built in and just yeah, you can see he forms the inside legs. He does the Menasor thing. He does the Legacy Menasor thing, which is not a bad call. I mean, it does allow them to all be built in, no additional parts or everything. You know, and it's pretty good looking considering that it's got all that extra junk to become like the extra parts for Defensor. So not a bad job at all. We have an Ironhide. When third parties are so obsessed with Dinobots and combiners, it's kind of humbling to just kind of go back to the basic characters a little bit. Ironhide's not one I really think of when I think like, yeah, he needs a new third-party figure, because I think the Masterpiece knocked it out of the sky. Like, I love the Masterpiece version. This isn't bad. Proportions feel off a little bit to me. Shoulders look like they sit a little bit too low for Ironhide. Yeah, and the torso, I don't know, the torso's shape is like throwing me off a little bit. It looks a little bit too bulbous even for Ironhide. I don't know. There's something off about their proportions. I can't quite put my finger on, but it's not really hitting me that well. I mean, can't fault the accessory count though. Wow. Wow. Okay, so fair play to them. It comes with a lot. Again, unless you're there, you don't hear what scale these are. I can't tell what scale they are just from the images. I'm assuming Masterpiece scale because of how much he comes with. He doesn't look bad. It looks like he does a ton. It's just there's something off about the overall look that is just like not getting me. And usually like a good Ironhide just like hits me like that. This is not hitting me like that. All right, so yeah, Ironhide got a ton of coverage. Ironhide got a ton of pictures and an unpainted head for some reason. Yep, and there's the Ratchet version. Seems like more of the same. You know, they're not. I think like. Are you really having to be sneaky about your Ratchet? Are you really being sneaky about your Ratchet? I pretty much think we know what Ratchet's going to look like. Thanks, guys. All right, Bansoys. Okay, we got Marge. I don't even want to try to pronounce that name again. It's their Ultra Magnus. It's a good-looking Magnus. Not going to take that away from him. It's an inner robot Magnus. Interesting. You know what's interesting to me is I'm looking at those thighs. Those thighs are not the thighs on that. So this is not as simple as just an armor-up Magnus. This might be more traditional as, like, that forms the central block that goes... Whoa, lost the picture. That might form the central block that goes into, like, the main portion of the Magnus, like, super mode, but not necessarily armors up in the traditional way. I do like white Optimus Prime, though. I always did like that color scheme. So let's see what we got here. Like, really great articulation range, obviously. They seem to really like that high kick pose these days to really show off what they can do. It does make him look broken in half, but it's kind of cool that he can do it nonetheless. Yeah, and then it's just a really good looking Magnus along with it. I don't even care what scale this is. This is impressive. This looks good. I wish I could see the back. Can I see the back? Okay, there's the back. Where does the white Prime go? I think I see it in the center of Magnus's body. I think I see it through the windshields on Magnus's chest. If it folds up and compresses that far into the torso and that's still just like a really solid little figure on its own, that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really cool. Yeah, that actually looks really, really impressive. That looks really impressive. Doors even open on the cab. Jeez. Okay, yeah, might have to keep this one in mind. Because I will agree, fantastic model. Jeez, a lot of alternate parts. I love the, oh, I love the broken helmet. I love the broken helmet too. Oh, that's cool. Okay, okay, I kind of like this. I kind of like this one. Yeah, I mean, I think that also comes across from just the fact that, like, the Studio Series 86 one kind of left me flat. I didn't like it nearly as much as a lot of people seem to. But we'll see. We'll see how overcomplicated this one is to do everything it seems to be doing. At TFcon Orlando, eventually the crowd started laughing at how many Constructicons got announced. So I don't know what the reaction was here. Yeah, so this is a Fans Toys B, so I think we're going cartoon accurate with the color scheme as in a re-release form. Or metallic, because Scavenger's legs look metallic here? I don't know. I don't know, but it seems like another run at their cartoon accurate Devastator, which is fine. Just fine, because there's always going to be someone out there who hasn't gotten them yet. There's their Scavenger. All right. Okay, fine. I see what you're doing. Yeah, but I'm so done on third-party Constructicons. I cannot believe they're still marketable. Oh, and they're doing an Ironhide too. See, this is the kind of moment where something gets a laugh out of a crowd. Where, like, oh, two companies tried to do Ironhide at the same time. This one proportionally does look better. Like, this one is not off-putting me as much as the other one did. I really think it's because of the placement of the shoulders and just the proportion of the torso compared to the arms. I think that's where it's hitting me a little bit better. Yeah, I'd like to see this one in color just to see, like, how much it's really hitting me. Oh, and hey, look, they actually showed off the front of their Ratchet. Thank you. It's coming with an IDW head, too. It's got a more grizzled look to it. That's cool. I like that little bit of variety. Yeah, see, there's the Ratchet. They just go ahead and show off the Ratchet. That would have made me laugh. That would have made me laugh. This is still in CAD, but they were confident enough to show off their remold. Yeah, it's got combat trailer too. So yeah, it does just about everything there. All right, Mastermind. This is one of the companies I really trust to do something cool. Okay, yeah, these are more their exclusives. So they decided to do as exclusives at TFcon. They decided to do more of their cassette bots, which are cool. I apparently picked the one that is like the most annoying to work with, the most annoying to transform, to own. Haven't gotten one of these robotic ones yet, but they've done Rosanna, and as long as they were doing Rosanna, they also did flip sides. So you actually have both the pink and white versions. Now, I heard the story about how these things happened, and I really like that they happened because it's a cool story, and I really like the idea of doing cassette bots at full-size cassette scale. I wish they weren't as expensive as they were. It's like, I will buy one because it's the exclusive at the con I am at, but I don't think I would go out of my way to order one online. Yeah, if these are a little bit cheaper, I'd be a little bit more interested. But, you know, cool that some of the more obscure ones are getting that attention. I know it's eject and rewind repaints, but still, kind of cool. And flip sides, and especially Rosanna, are very fandom friendly. Cool that they actually have third-party stuff. All right. Ocular Max Perfection Series, The Art of Transformation. We have another all built-in hotspot. You gotta love how so many of these are repeated. No matter how many times I go through these panels, it seems like there's always a few characters that just continuously pop up. And kind of ironic that hotspot is in both of these. I mean, it starts to feel like the third-party companies aren't as interested in just doing their own thing, and instead they're trying to one-up each other too much. That might just be my take on it, but it kind of feels that way. Like, because it feels way too coincidental that so many are focusing on the same things at the same time. Especially when you get into stuff is like out there as Defensor. I mean, that said, as an all built-in combiner, that Defensor don't look bad at all. Aside from the fact he's currently using 2 first aids and 2 streetwise to actually be in robot mode. Cool to know you can do that if you do get impatient waiting for the others to show up. But now, like, I think the question is still, like, the same when it comes to this. How are you going to do Groove? How are you going to make Groove make sense in all of this? How are you going to get a motorcycle to have a forearm built into him? So that's always where I, like, start to laugh, where I'm starting to be amused by these releases. Kind of cool that they actually let you have, like, the head cradle from the original toy if you want it. That's kind of a neat little touch. All right, now Decepticon. Yep, okay, so all built-in Devastator, so I'll give them credit. That's something that's a little bit rarer. I am still sick of seeing more Devastators. I'm still kind of sick of seeing Devastators. So, okay, all built-in is cool. Because Devastator traditionally almost always needs additional components in order to be in full combined mode. So if they can pull it off without that, that's really cool. And they do look good. I'm not gonna discredit them. I'm sick of seeing Devastators, but I'm not going to say that, like, it looks bad, because it doesn't. It looks impressive. Just knowing, like, looking at that Devastator and knowing none of those parts have to come off for him to combine. He does not need to have a bunch of forearms, hands, pelvis piece, all that lying around. That's just all him. Okay, that's cool. That's the engineering job I want out of a Devastator. Congratulations. Not sure if I quite like the proportions on him, but hey, again, what it's doing is pretty impressive on a technological level. And then they just throw this at us. Just one piece of Ruination. Just to let you know, they're doing the Ruination repaint. Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, they kind of designed these to look like the cartoon models. So, cartoon aesthetic, Ruination is going to be an interesting beast. We'll see how that turns out. Is that really all built in? Where does that foot come from if that's all built in? Because that foot absolutely looks like it just attaches. Yeah, I don't see a trace of that gold anywhere. That's a lot of folding that would have to come out of those legs in order to make that. Just saying. Of course, I haven't seen any other version of the toy, so I don't know. Okay, Fans Hobby, what do you have for us? All right, the other exclusive. So yeah, a lot of the exclusives have been doing this. Just trying to get as many of the Euro G1 toys out as they can out of existing molds. Not a bad idea. Not a bad way of using all of these. At TFcon Orlando, they had they had one of them. Here's another. Both together are using the Darkwing and Dreadwind molds that Fans Hobby did. So these are actually capable of combining, as seen here, into a garish nightmare that blends into nothing in the sky. Cool, the functionality is retained. It's still just, I guess it's incentive for someone like me if I was able to go to both cons, would have been cool incentive. But I kind of skipped the first one, so it doesn't matter for me. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not lighting my world on fire, but it's not bad. I mean, I think it's the perfect inspiration for a set of convention exclusives. Because it's not something that's going to do gangbusters as far as sales numbers, but it makes for an interesting and unique piece that you can get at a Transformer convention, Here's where we get a little bit unfortunate. Okay, so they are doing mini-cons. They are doing all the combining weapon mini-cons. They're retaining the clear plastic from the original designs, which is what caused a lot of those to break. Stop using clear plastic. Yeah, I mean, this is something I would actually be interested in, because I would love to have these in more articulated style. You know, I would love to, because I do like the designs, and I like the idea of jets that combine into a sword. That's actually a really cool set of toys. If you do them again in solid colors, I would consider buying it. I ain't gonna do it this way. I ain't gonna do it with this much clear plastic involved. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see if they retain that translucent plastic. I don't know how like the floor reception was, or if they've got time to change it based on like a audience reaction. But please don't. Please opaque plastic. All right, and then the Space Mini-Cons. There's not a whole lot more you can do with the Space Mini-Cons, if we're being honest here. They look fine. They look like they're doing exactly the job they're supposed to do. There's the Requiem Blaster. Again, basically just doing what it needs to do. The fact that it's actually used, the satellites legs to form like a bipod is actually a really clever use of the design. So good on that. I'll give you credit there. Yeah, it's pretty big in the hands of a normal size figure, but in the hands of their giant Optimus, their super mode Optimus, it looks perfect. This is kind of interesting to me too. So apparently the shield actually has like an anime accurate, because like the anime super simplified the design of the shield once it was combined. Nice that there is an individual set. That one that looks about as good as it's ever looked. So nice. I want to see it in color. Speaking of their naval commander, we have the Nemesis colors now, or the Black Convoy rather, more accurate. So we do have like a Nemesis Prime in this color scheme. It's actually the original Nemesis Prime. Except this is using silver instead of like the bone brown color of the US version. But it's always nice to see. It's not a bad looking mold in these colors, but we never got to see it in super mode in an official toy. I like that they've included the animation accurate like broken face. That's actually a cool touch. Yeah, and then so I like that the smokestacks have their own locations. That's kind of a cool touch. We never saw it with the trailer, and it does look cool. It does look cool. I think you are losing a little bit of the Scourge, the Black Convoy aspect, when you don't have any way of replicating the chest, since it's using the top of a truck instead. So it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off, but still not bad. Still not bad. I don't think you can get the color scheme wrong. Let's put it that way. I don't think you can get this color scheme wrong. I could use a little bit more red. Just a little bit more red somewhere in that robot mode. But beyond that, he's looking good. He's looking good. I still hate the design of their spark plug, but black and red, again, hard color scheme to make look bad. And then the tease. The tease. They are working on a tidal wave, which should scale those minicons pretty good. And the tidal wave actually retains its hidden minicon gimmick. It retains the elevator. We've yet to see what size it's going to be, but yeah. For those who don't want to pay Titan, well, who are you kidding? This is going to be more expensive than the Titan. But if you're one of those who wanted him at commander size because he didn't want him to be super gigantic compared to the rest of your Armada toys, this one might actually hit the nail a little bit closer. So keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. And that's going to do it for the third-party panel. As usual, a lot of the stuff that was out there, some of it hit me really well, and some of it did not. But then there's all that repetition and stuff I'm just tired of seeing. I would love to actually like recap one of these panels and not see a Constructicon or a Dinobot. I would love that, but I'm not sure it's happened yet. But one can dream. So that is my opinion. Those are the thoughts on the third-party releases, the announcements at TFcon LA. Tons of stuff there. Feel free to discuss it all in the comments section below. And as always, I will see you next time.